So welcome to the Holistic Kid Show. My name is Zane.
My name is Imal.
And my name is Kasim.
We're the Holistic Kids here to educate us kids from the inside out. With more and more kids spending their free time on social media, simple skills kids need in life are not taught by parents. And while they're off for college, a lot of teens are suffering.
Few teens are prepared to handle adult life. Did you know that these skills are needed not just for school, but for the real circumstances as well? This is why life skills are critical to learn now. Which ones?
Which one's important? Which ones are important?
So let's ask our next guest and our close family friend, Miss Katie Kimball. We first met her on the set of the Dr. and Andy show 7 years ago.
Only him.
Katie Kimball, CSME, founder and CEO of Kitchen Stewardship, is passionate about researching natural remedies and making healthy cooking easier for busy families. As a trusted educator and author of Real Food Cookbooks, she has been featured on media outlets like ABC, NBC, and First for Women magazine and contributes regularly on the Fox network. In 2016, she created the #1 best-selling online kids cooking course, Kids Cook Real Food, helping thousands of families around the world learn to cook. And in 2022, she founded the #Life Skills Now summer camp series
that you all need to get enrolled in today. Thank you so much for joining us. We would love to know your story and how did you find that passion.
Oh my goodness. Thank you guys. Zane, you did a great job reading that really dense bio. Sorry about that. Well, I'm a mom of 4 kids. I have 3 boys and 1 girl. And I realized somewhere along the way in parenting that I was dropping the ball a little bit. I knew I wanted my kids to be really competent in the kitchen and have lots of independence. And when they were really little, I taught them cooking skills well. But the more kids I had, the more crazy the house gets. You guys probably feel that a little bit. And I know your mom's really good at getting you all in the kitchen. And I am now, but I wasn't when my oldest, who's 20, was about 9. And so I just had realized that I taught him when he was really little, and then I had this gap. And I really wanted to get him back into the kitchen. And so I decided to spend a summer teaching my kids to cook. And I let I had 1 baby at the time, and then the other 3 were like 4, 7, and 10. So they each got to invite a friend over, and once a week we would do a cooking class. The friends were there so that the kids enjoyed it more. And I had extra kids to teach, to test things out on, because I had an audience at that time of other moms who were having trouble getting healthy in the kitchen themselves. And so I thought, if I'm struggling to teach kids to cook, they probably are too. So that was how Kids Cook Real Food began. And then through that, we saw that lots of other parents were like, this is great. I can teach my kids to cook now, but there's so many other life skills. So that's when I started Life Skills Now summer camp. Your mom has been one of our camp leaders teaching kids how to stay healthy. And it's so fun for me to bring together tons and tons of people, just like you do on your podcast. You know, you get to benefit from other experts. So it's fun for me to bring together like 50 experts every summer, teaching all sorts of skills, from finances to entrepreneurship to cooking and gardening, to how to think and problem solve and how to communicate and do handshakes and eye contact and all sorts of crazy stuff. So that's where I'm really passionate about, because then we see the kids who are our campers using the workshops and their confidence just bursts. It just rockets to the ceiling. And that feels so good to be part of.
That's amazing how you decided to help other parents after teaching yourself. So
what are life skills?
That's a good question. Can I ask you guys, what life skills do you know? Have you used any life skills today?
Yes, walking.
Walking, breathing.
Talking.
Yeah.
Looking.
Observing.
Eating.
Writing.
Right.
And I would say writing to me feels a little bit like a school skill, right? Like school skills would be like reading, writing, math, memorizing facts, learning how to spell words. And schools are pretty good at teaching those things. But when it comes to life skills, these are skills that no matter what job you have, whether you become a mom or a dad or a doctor or a janitor, like you still have to have some skills that help you be independent, that help you finally maybe leave your mom and dad's house and move out on your own, because you got to be able to feed yourself and clean your house and do things for yourself that instead of having other people do it for you. And so I'm thinking about when my husband, Mr. Kimball, was really young, when he was in college, he would go out camping with his friends. So all guys, pretty young men. And a lot of them would just sit around and let like one or two guys do all the cooking and all the grilling, because they didn't have any skills. Everyone had always done stuff for them. So I think life skills is anything that builds your independence, that lets you live on your own someday and serve others in your family, and that are like not school skills. What do you think? Is that an okay definition?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
You'll take it.
Just skills that you're going to need throughout your life.
Yes.
And I mean, especially with all this technology or the use of restaurants, like maybe cooking your food, but especially going back to all the technology, a lot of people are saying we don't even need practical skills anymore because robots will do everything for us.
What skills do kids need in life?
Yeah. Won't that be a crazy world to think about if AI and robots just do everything for us? But man, I don't think AI and robots can actually do everything. Like maybe they can someday cook our food or clean our house, but I still want to be able to make decisions for myself and do some problem solving. I hope it's always going to be super, super important to be able to communicate, to be able to talk to other people and to meet in person. Like our bodies are wired to talk in person, even though we can have wonderful conversations through text, right? I hope you guys have probably had the experience too, how different it is to be in a room with someone versus like what we're doing now, where I can see your face and we can talk to each other. And that's a little different. Like it's a little less personal what we're doing now, because we're not really in the room together. And then especially Zane, you've probably had like text conversations or typed emails to people before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like a different level of communication. So if we think about AI, it'll all be text or like talking to not other humans. And so I think we're always going to need communication skills to be able to be with other humans. I think we're always going to need to be able to regulate our own nervous system and take care of our own body. Like the robot can't exercise for me. A robot, an AI can't help me calm myself down if I'm feeling like my emotions are too big or something. And I also think I don't really want to outsource things like decisions about what food I eat. I know like you've seen your mom makes really good decisions about what she feeds her family. And I don't really want to let robots or AI make decisions about my money either, and the value of money and how to choose to spend and save it. So I really feel like kids today, your age group, and teenagers and young adults, we're still going to need some really vital life skills, even though technology can do an awful lot for us. If we don't know how to use the technology, it's going to use us. So that's a life skill too, is how to use tech really, really well.
How do you figure out what to expect from kids at different ages?
Oh, isn't that fun? I mean, okay, tell me all your 3 ages right now.
So I'm 14.
I'm 12.
And I'm 9.5.
9.5. Yeah. And I love that. And I have a 10-year-old and I have a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old. So we're like, we're kind of in there with you guys. And I think when I talk to parents, I like to tell them to raise their expectations, because I'm guessing that at 14 and 12 and 9.5, you guys can probably do 10 times more than most adults would expect you to be able to do, right? Like if I went to any random mom of a 9.5-year-old and I said, do you think your kid could host a podcast? She'd be like, no. You know what I mean? So you guys have built these skills because your mom said, maybe just raise my expectations. So when I think about the different skills at different ages, first we want to think about there's hands-on, minds-on, and hearts-on skills. Okay, so we all need our hands-on skills like cooking and cleaning and fixing things and sewing, all that stuff that you do right with your hands. And little kids are perfect for that. They want to touch everything. So I think, let your 2 or 3 or 4 or 5-year-old try something. And even when I think about, I used to not have my kids clean toilets because I thought it was too gross. I'm like, you guys can learn other cleaning things, but mom will clean the toilets. But then my youngest said, well, I want to do something that the big brothers and sisters can't do because they always take all the more interesting chores. Can you teach me to clean a toilet? And he was 8. And I've had people online say, oh no, you cannot have an 8-year-old clean a toilet. That's way too germy. And I'm like, do you know what 8-year-old boys touch? Like, it's not going to be a problem. So I think we definitely need to just raise the bar, raise our expectations with hands-on skills. Again, kids are perfect because they really want to be touching things and getting involved. When I think about minds-on skills, that category includes stuff like finances, thinking about starting a business and making money, called entrepreneurship, building your own confidence, being a real problem solver, and then managing your time and managing your space. That managing your space is kind of both. Like, you got to touch your stuff and put it away, but you have to be able to think like, where should I put this away, and notice that I need to put something away. But again, I think kids can do a lot more than parents expect. So, for a 9.5-year-old, I would say we should be talking already about how we spend our money. And maybe you would need to have a little bit of money, a little bit of income, so you can decide, do I spend it? Do I save it? Do I donate it to charity? These are conversations that really young children can be part of, but a lot of parents aren't doing it because the kids, they're not like you guys. They're not doing a podcast and making food with their mom. You guys are exemplary. But I think a lot of kids could come up to that level if the parents would let them do it. Hands-on, minds-on. The last category is hearts-on. And so that's what we do as humans that the robots really can't take over. That's communicating, whether that's personal or digital. I mean, I think writing an email and proper texting is actually a really good skill. And we talked already about emotional regulation, calming your own nervous system. So there's a lot of kind of hearts-on things too that we want to be talking to our kids at all ages. And probably I would say to any parent out there, if you think your kid can't do it, but you think they might be ready in 2 or 3 years, they're probably ready now. Because most of us don't think highly enough maybe of our kids. I was thinking, like, you could be the smartest person in the room as a grown-up. You could have all the book knowledge. You could have all that writing knowledge and reading and math. But if you can't communicate, if you can't organize your own time or space and get anywhere on time, if you can't solve problems and you're constantly like having grown-up tantrums and meltdowns, you're probably going to be the least successful person in the room, even if you have the most smarts up here. And so that's why I love this Life Skills Now summer camp, because everything I've said, we teach in these really, really short 5 to 30-minute videos. And it's so fun for kids.
Mm-hmm. And it's amazing that you have a summer camp, but it's also something that I think a lot of schools may be missing out on teaching these. So do you think that schools are the ones that should be teaching kids life skills, or are parents or homes more in charge of teaching kids life skills?
That is such a great question. And I'd like to say that everyone should be responsible, but I think I'm a former teacher in a school too. And what we're seeing right now in schools, and I don't know if you guys feel this or not, but the school teachers have so many expectations. They have so much they're trying to cram into your school year. So if they were to say, I need to add another thing to my curriculum, it's just not going to work. They would have to let back a little bit, I think, on the academics, which means it falls to parents for sure. However, I'm a PS kind of person. PS, if teachers could think about life skills a little bit and incorporate those into their day and not look at it as like, oh, I have to teach a 20-minute life skills lesson, but think of themselves as a guide. And while I'm teaching the math and the science and the social studies and everything else, how can I help kids be better humans? That would be really, really cool. But I don't think they have time for like cooking and cleaning and auto maintenance and bike maintenance and stuff like that. Like that's got to be at home with the mom and dad, because that's where that stuff is happening, you know? And so that's hard for moms and dads though, because sometimes we just want to get our work done. We just want to check it off the to-do list. and so when, you know, the 9.5-year-old says, "Ooh, interesting. Can I help? Those tools look cool, Dad." Some dads are like, "Oh, no." Like, I just got to get this done. And so that's the challenge for parents is like, can you slow down a little bit? Can you say yes and let the kid, you know, be your partner and be your sidekick in that? And again, that can be really hard when you have a to-do list. So that's why Life Skills Now Camp is super cool, because you get 70 new people on your parenting team. Like you guys as kids would get to maybe watch a video that teaches something that your parent doesn't know how to do. You know, maybe your parent doesn't know how to run electrical wires, or maybe they don't know how to check the oil in their car. We even had someone teach a couple of years ago on how to do a good podcast interview. And I had a mom write in and say, "My 9-year-old is really good at this." Isn't that funny? Like, this is a true story. I'm not making up the age, I promise. It was a 9-year-old. She said, "He's really good at interviewing." And we never would have known that without Life Skills Now Summer Camp, because that family is not a podcasting family, you know? So it's a really cool way to like expand kids' worlds outside of what their parents know, because we can only teach what we know. So it's super cool to learn together at Life Skills Now Camp. And I think that's how you know too if kids are ready for something, is if they have even a little bit of interest in it, then they're ready.
How or does learning life skills affect your social or emotional development?
Ooh, so good. So I've learned from a sociologist that when kids build confidence, so confidence is feeling like I know how to do something, you know, I can do things well. I don't like always make mistakes. When you build confidence doing one thing, it actually applies to everything. So a kid who learns how to make really awesome muffins, or to make scrambled eggs for breakfast in the morning, or a kid who can keep their room clean, or all these like little life skills that don't seem that important, they're actually more confident in school. They're more confident in social situations with their friends, because that like confidence bucket is the same bucket you get to carry into all of your situations. Plus, when you're learning life skills, you're going to mess up. You're going to burn something in the kitchen. You're going to, you know, do some laundry imperfectly. You're going to not dust your room perfectly. And that's great, because every time that we can make a mistake and then fix it, we're teaching ourselves that we know how to solve problems. And that fills our confidence bucket even further, which is great, because again, it applies to all the areas of life. And you guys have probably found that too. Like, do you feel like you're more confident in school because you have this cool interview podcast thing that you do at home?
Yes, definitely. Especially because whenever we're gonna do like some public speaking, because a lot of times even when it's I don't know if you could hear me. I think but it's not muted. But
You did mute. Yeah, you want to repeat that answer maybe?
yeah, so basically because I'm already public speaking like over here, I know how to talk to a large amount of people at school, which is gonna overall affect my grade. So
Totally.
So I know you talked about the age, but like, do you think that starting kids off like really young, like maybe like 4 years old is the good start, or somewhere more like 8?
There's research on that. That's an excellent question. So some American researchers went to other countries and they were studying how kids learn to do tasks and how they're involved in the home. And I believe they were in Guatemala, and they were interviewing like an 8-year-old who said, "Oh, I come home every day after school and I help my mama and I do laundry, you know, and I help clean the house." And the American researchers went, "This is not what American kids sound like at all." And what they decided after they did more observations and sort of did their research, they realized that younger kids are more motivated on the inside to help. Because you guys, how old's your littlest brother? Is he 3 yet, or 2?
2.
He's 2. So you're probably seeing it a little bit where he wants to be
Yes.
big. He He wants to get in your stuff. He wants to do what you do. He wants to do what your mom and dad and grandma and grandpa do. And that's called intrinsic motivation. And so when that is moving and shaking about between the ages of 2 and 6, it's super powerful. So if parents can say yes more than, that helps the kids train their brains. Yes, I can do these things. I belong in the kitchen. I'm a member of the family who's contributing, and I can try stuff. If the parents say, no, 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 you go play. No, I got this. No, mama's in the kitchen, right? Like that's kind of a very American way to do it. That trains the kids' brains. They don't belong in the kitchen. They're not a contributing member of the family. They don't really belong there. They should just go play. And then when they're 8 or 10 and you say, hey, can you help with dinner? They're like, no, I don't want to anymore, right? So it's actually the best time to start is when your kids are below, like 6 and below, because if you can keep that intrinsic motivation unbroken, then when they're 8 or 10, they're happier to help. If the kid is 8 or 10 or 12 or 14, it's still really important to start. Like it's never too late, because we definitely want to build these skills before kids get super old. Like your oldest brother is starting to push the limits of like, he's going to leave home soon. And I know your mom, he's going to know how to cook. He's going to know how to grocery shop. He's going to know how to clean his house and organize his time and get places, on time and organize his space. And that's a huge gift that parents can give their kids.
Mm-hmm. So how does
equipping children with life skills contribute to a better overall society?
Ooh, a better overall society. Did you know, you guys, that America just fell off a very important list? It's the list of the top 20 happiest countries in the world. We just fell off the bottom. We're not in the top 20 happy countries anymore. I know your eyebrows are getting worried. Me too. And the blame is put on the young people, the teenagers and the 20-year-olds, because they're so full of anxiety right now. Young people's anxiety levels are so high that they're not happy. And they've caused our whole country to fall off that list of the top 20, which is really, really sad. And there's lots of reasons I think that young people are anxious, but sometimes part of the reason is because they don't feel like they're in control of their lives. Imagine if you're leaving home and you're like, oh, I have to make so many decisions. I have no idea how to feed myself. I don't know what to do with my money. Do I have enough money? I don't know. No one ever taught me to manage that. I got to make a decision on what I'm going to do for my whole life, my career. And gosh, maybe I want to meet a girl, maybe I want to marry her, but I don't know how to communicate with anyone. If you can imagine, if you don't have those skills, you're super anxious. And that's part of what I think is happening with our young people in America right now, is that they're very anxious because when things happen in their world, they're like, who's going to save me? No one taught me how to do things. And so we're definitely going to have a better, more happy, more calm, more organized society if people can take care of themselves and feel that sense of independence and confidence. We're going to have families that work together and stay together longer, and that's good for society. We're going to have people who go to work and do their work better. That's better for society. So all around, we can learn the head skills, the academic skills in school, like all the time. But if we don't learn to take care of ourselves and be independent, things definitely start to fall apart.
This was amazing.
Amazing. We love how you have put this amazing camp together. So can you tell us more about how this camp works and how people can sign up, and more about your work?
All right. Well, you guys are amazing. And you're a great example, I think, for all the adults listening, of raising that bar and getting kids to do more stuff. Like, look at the life skills we've had today. They've had to have eye contact. They've had to respond to me. They've had to have public speaking and confidence. You guys also had to, shift from school to doing more work and regulate your nervous systems and be here. You're all dressed very nicely. You probably fueled your bodies well with good foods. Like, you're spilling over with life skills. It's so good. So how can you join the camp? We're going to make a special link that your audience can follow to Kids Cook Real Food /Holistic Kids. And when they go there, they can register for camp. It's June 9th to 13th this year. It's completely free. We have 70 expert camp leaders, 100 different skills. So for any kids out there who are like, yeah, I probably won't be interested in any of them, there's literally 100. Like there's definitely something for everyone. And it's free for a whole week. If you happen to be listening to this after June 13th, that's okay. Still go to that link. There will be 4 free videos all year round, even when we're not open for new summer camp. So everything comes to you virtually. So kids can watch super short videos, and then the experts give them a mission. They say, campers, your mission is, and they give you something to do. So you might be running off to the kitchen to make something. You might be running outside to do something. You might be writing down ideas to start a new business. The camp leaders are going to get your brains and bodies moving all summer long, and we'll give people prizes when they complete their missions. So it's really fun.
Thank you so much, Miss Katie. This was such a much needed episode. Everyone needs to join Miss Katie Kimball's camp now.
Now, let's recap Miss Katie's key points.
We need to rise expectations. Colleges are reporting that young adults are coming in less prepared for life than ever before, and human resources departments are saying the same about first-time job applicants.
We want us kids to rise above and be the ones who know how to take care of themselves, how to communicate effectively, and how to manage emotions and connect with others. It's not only about getting a job or being successful, although those are also nice. The real value of learning life skills is a huge increase in self-worth, esteem, and increase in confidence.
We need hands-on, mind-on, and hearts-on skills today. Hands-on skills are like cooking. Learn to check the oil on their car or build a business. Learn things your parents know. Time to expand your world today.
You choose the skills. You choose the timing. Enroll in her life skills. Now summer camp.
So thank you again, Miss Katie. It was so fun today. We are so thankful for your wisdom and time today.
Thank you guys.
And
You're
It
amazing.
really was our pleasure that you're here with us today. So thank you. And so thank you everyone for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Zansari.
I'm Imad.
And I'm Qasim.
Follow my family on social media, Holistic Mom D, and stay tuned for our book, The Teen Health Revolution, releasing November 2025. Sorry, not 2029. No, but you can pre-order it actually today. It's on Amazon, so definitely check that out. So kids need to learn from other kids. Please download our podcast on iTunes and leave a review so other kids and families can benefit. We need to create a healthy future for all of us and the planet. Join us next week for another episode of the Holistic Kids Show, where kids are empowering kids. Thank you, everyone.